I right that you said that if you voted for Donald Trump, at the core there was a racist? It was racist.
Yeah, I've said that.
You don't. You didn't mean. You didn't mean everyone who voted for Trump.
Well, here's what I mean. Because I don't mince words.
Experience Karen Hunter in a completely different way. Karen Hunter is awesome. The podcast.
If you like me on SiriusXM Urban View Channel 126, you're gonna love me. And Karen Hunter is awesome. Hey, this is Karen Hunter, host of the Karen Hunter Show on SiriusXM's Urban View. Karen Hunter is awesome is an actual podcast to bring heat and energy and knowledge and power. A 1-2 punch that I don't think you get anyplace else. Tell the truth. Check out the podcast wherever you get your podcast. You will not be disappointed.
Back by popular demand, we have our friend Karen Hunter, Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist, talk show host, SiriusXM Radio, heard on Channel 126 every day, 3 to 6 p.m. How you doing?
I'm awesome. How are you?
Great having you back. By the way, we'll get this out of the way. Karen argues, and I don't buy it, that she has a good side. And I say that you have both good sides.
Yeah, no, there's no Fibonacci, right? That's that mathematical equation for perfection.
Yeah.
Beautiful people, both sides of their faces are the same.
Like you?
No, Brad Pitt. I think there's like a few people.
Clooney?
No, I don't think he's in that category.
All right, go ahead.
Very few. But most of us are, off. One side is a little different than the other side.
This is my good side.
Yeah, and that's my good side, too.
Check this out. This is my good side.
That's my good side,
What's your good side?
The same side if I sat over there.
So you're on the wrong side?
Yeah, but it's all right. I can roll with it because, it's not the worst.
You're so accommodating.
It's your show.
See, let me say something to you.
What?
If the country were so accommodating,
right?
If we could come together like this and work things out, we'd be a better country.
We would be a better
country.
country.
Now, what do you think the odds are as we, by the way, and it's the end of 2006, watch this transition, this segue. We're moving in 2017. The show will be seen later. We have a new president. Mm-hmm. What are the odds that we come together and work things out like this and the country's so fragmented and fractured, divided, it's going to come together like this?
0.
Come on.
Yeah,
You've always been an optimist. All the years I've known you.
I actually am an optimist. I really am. But I'm also realistic. I don't live in Alice in Wonderland. I am realistic about where we are as a nation. And the fact that we're even here tells you how far apart we are. We go from 8 years of Barack Obama to Donald Trump. It says a lot about not just how disgruntled people are, but I think how ignorant people are of what is actually happening in this country and around the world.
Define ignorant here.
Ignorant is defined the way it is, like lack of knowledge. We unfortunately, most of us are getting our news from sources that are not real. We don't do our homework and research, so we hear things and we repeat them, and then they become, fact. So when Donald Trump says, African Americans, you're living in hell, and I look around and all of my friends aren't, 76% of black people are not living in poverty. Black women are the most educated, degree holding in the country. I go, where is he getting that? And then it gets repeated. What about Chicago? And then that gets repeated. And it just, we're in a place where it's just hard to beat back all of the misinformation.
Why did Trump win? Because
people are unhappy, but I guess they're unhappy. Or
enough.
You know what? I've been grappling with this since Election Day. I actually went to sleep before I knew it was going to happen. I didn't want to watch it. My psyche couldn't take it, and I woke up to President-elect Donald Trump, and I wasn't shocked because I think we live in a nation that is, whether we want to admit it or not, really, really at its roots, very divided. Very, very divided. And what, when you ask people why, well, my job, and I'm like, are you gainfully employed? Yeah, but Obamacare. Well, were your premiums going up before? Well, yeah, but, there's these things that they're rooted in, but it's not rooted in anything factual. It's just how they feel.
But two things here, Karen. One, how much do you put, and again, we're doing it at the end of 2016, we're trying to make sense of what happened, but also look ahead. How much do you put the results of the 2016 presidential election on the fact that Hillary Clinton was not able to connect with voters, a significant percentage of African-American voters, and if they are particularly concerned, you and others, why did more African-Americans not come out and support her?
She didn't lose because black people didn't show up. Roughly, I want to say 89, 90% of black women voted for her.
Was there a high percentage? Was there a significant
She lost
percentage
because white people didn't show up for her. She lost because white people didn't show up. Barack Obama won because white people showed up for him. You can't win an election just on the basis of a 13% population. You cannot win just based on that.
Karen, you're arguing that, I want to understand something. You're arguing that there was a high degree of enthusiasm for Hillary Clinton in the African-American community?
No, I'm not arguing that. Let's be honest. She was a flawed candidate. I think if Joe Biden had won, it would have probably been a landslide. I would say right now, Bernie Sanders had been a nominee. Could have won. I struggle with that one. Hillary was flawed, but I think she also, and she said this herself, she's not very charismatic. She doesn't make the case for herself. She's not that person. She's not very politically eloquent.
Doesn't connect with people, some say.
She doesn't, and she didn't. And that's why she lost. Because, again, people voted on emotion, not on facts, not on, what's actually going on in the world and the country. They voted based on how they felt.
But another thing that you said that struck me, and you and I have known each other so long, and I listen to your show, and I'm compelled by it and interested in it, and I argue with you sometimes as I'm in my car. Am I right that you said that if you voted for Donald Trump, at the core there was racist?
Yeah, I've said that.
You didn't mean you didn't mean everyone would vote for Trump.
Well, here's what I mean, because I don't mince words. If you could if you could pull a lever for somebody that had the history that he had, I'm not just talking about the housing discrimination. I'm talking about calling for the death penalty of 5 young boys in New York City for rape. And then when they were exonerated, still hasn't... Central Park 5, still hasn't apologized, still said, well, they must have done something.
Took out ads in the paper.
Took out ads in the paper, a lot of money. As I worked at the Daily News at the time, that was a $25,000 ad. He did one in the New York Times as well.
Calling for their
death, for a rape that they were exonerated for later. DNA evidence proved that they didn't do it. Not only did he not apologize, but he doubled down and said they must have done something. This man, to me, more so than any other candidate, because I can roll with policies that I don't necessarily agree with. And truthfully, as I get older, I'm a little bit more conservative than I was in my 20s. The climate in this country that he fostered and fanned the flames of, both through his social media and through actually what he did at his rallies, was, take him out, let's beat him, I can shoot somebody and get away with it. And it just the disconnect. Your solution to black folk is appointing Ben Carson as head of HUD, having Omarosa as your, outreach person. It's so insulting that if you could pull a lever for somebody that the KKK did a rally for in celebration, that David Duke and all these alt-right, white supremacists have come out for, it says something about you. Now, you can argue with yourself and say, I voted for jobs.
Or I voted for change.
What kind of change? Unemployment is at a 9-year low. We're gaining 180,000 jobs every single month. Those jobs, those coal miner jobs, are never coming back. That's a lie. We saw the deal with Carrier. That was a smoke and mirrors, bull crap, dog and pony show. If you could really say to yourself, I voted for him because I want, what kind of change are you looking for exactly? I want my country back.
Drain the swamp.
Yeah, then you put all the swamp people in your cabinet. This is saying something.
But Karen, respectfully, there are some of my friends who voted for Trump who I can have spirited discussions with them about it, and we can go back and forth. But at the core, all of them racist.
I think that we in this nation have a race problem that we never deal with.
No doubt.
I think that more of us, if 75% of white people have no relationship with blacks, and that's a Washington Post poll, that's on purpose. So your only information about people from outside of your culture is through media, propaganda, movies, or what have you, rap music, and that shapes how you treat people and how you think about them. Then you have some work to do, and you pull the lever for somebody that, for many people, they woke up that Wednesday morning afraid for their lives, afraid for their livelihoods, afraid for their future as American citizens, that you can live in a nation where you could say to your fellow Americans, middle finger to you, because that's what it felt like.
Okay, where do we go now?
I don't know.
Trump
That's why I said 0%.
He's our president.
Yeah.
He's your president. He's my president.
Absolutely. I stopped calling them names because I was doing that for a while. That was fun.
It's not fun because he is the president of all of us.
So I have to be respectful.
Whether people voted for him or not, where do we go from here?
Well, my thing is, what can I do in my personal life to insulate and protect myself from whatever crazy may come down the pike? You know, so I'm challenging my listeners to save their money, to get their health right, to, you know, work on pooling their resources, coming together, building businesses, fostering community, building neighborhood watches, you know, showing up to police stations and meeting your police captains and police precinct heads and police chiefs and introducing yourselves to them so that we can have the relationships that we need to have in this law and order, you know, that Donald Trump is going to usher in. He said law and order and stop and frisk is going to become national. Well, we need to do something to combat it because, you know, for me, it could mean, you know, my brother not coming home one night. You know, for me, it could mean me being stopped. It could be Sandra Bland, you know, in a climate that is kind of giving carte blanche to this energy. You know, we have to do some things to protect ourselves. I'm never scared because I don't live in fear. I don't live in fear, but I am going to be ever vigilant, and I'm not letting anyone off the hook. And we can't normalize this either.
But you're giving him a chance. You have to.
No, why? Why do I have to give him a chance?
Because he's our president.
Yes, but what does giving him a chance look like?
Give him a chance to, he says he wants to bring the country together.
How? You had 18 months.
I'm going to see what he wants to do.
He had 18 months. And then
You mean the campaign?
Yeah, you had 18 months to do a campaign that talked about unity and really showed it. You had 18 months. I judge a tree by the fruit that it bears, Steve, and that's scripture, right? Judge a tree by the fruit that it bears. You can tell me anything out of your mouth. What has your life produced in this area? I don't know.
Experience Karen Hunter in a completely different way. Karen Hunter is awesome. The podcast.
If you like me on SiriusXM Urban View Channel 126, you're gonna love me. And Karen Hunter is awesome. Hey, this is Karen Hunter, host of the Karen Hunter Show on SiriusXM's Urban View. Karen Hunter is Awesome is an actual podcast to bring heat and energy and knowledge and power, a 1-2 punch that I don't think you get anyplace else. Tell the truth. So check out the podcast wherever you get your podcast. You will not be disappointed.